I have two devices here actually and two supplements. I'm going to talk about removing parasites from the body. And this one, if you notice, there's a red light right here. Okay. Now, how this is attached to my wrist, and you don't need the bracelet or anything, I'm just wearing it. Actually, it's just an elastic band. And what there is these things. What that is basically a piece of cloth. And the way this device is sold, I've actually put a stainless steel insert in the cloth. So when the alligator clip is clipped to the stainless steel, because these will rust after a while, so that's the way I did it. But normally when you receive this unit, it's the alligator clip is attached to the cloth, and the cloth goes under, under the elastic band, which is over your artery, and it goes wrist to wrist. You have one of these on each wrist. Okay. Now, just want to point out, you look at the red light, right? It's off. If I hold this in my hand, it's conducting electricity. If I let go of it, I'm just holding it by the insulation. There's no conductivity. The red light means you're getting the proper current going through the body. If your first time you're watching any of this stuff I put out, is that there is a specific patent, and it's been out since 91. Actually, there's a couple of patents. Actually, there's one in 1991, 1992. It's from Dr. Kiley and Lyman. Research done at the Albert Einstein Medical College in New York City. Basically, what this device is, and it'll also knock out some of the parasites too. And this is really about parasites, but this will knock out, according to the patent, a bona fide patent, it'll knock out pathogens, fungi, bacteria, and viri, and cause them not to be able to adhere to new human healthy cells, and at the same time keep the blood and other bodily fluids intact. Now, the beauty behind this unit, if you look closely, this has like a control knob on it. If you turn it down, you notice the light goes off. This is specific design that Mike Forrest did he's actually an American from Texas, but he's in Ecuador because of problems with the FDA. But he has it where if you turn the current up, because the current could vary, you see if I turn it up too much, the light goes off, and I start feeling a little bit of pulsing in here, slight amount. But when the red light is on like that, you're getting the exact proper current per the patent that was performed in a petri dish against pathogens. So I like this design. There's no guesswork involved. It's a simple, very novel, but its simplicity is intelligence. So he's got a very good design there. Now this unit actually is a little more complex because it's two units in one, but I'm just going to go over that is what the Beck protocol is, and pretty much cleanse the blood. I'll do this just about every day for a good 2 hours. And so there's no it will knock out parasites. Now, the one thing I'm talking about with parasites is because these things are in practically everybody there is in the United States. It doesn't matter if they're affluent, they shower 3-4 times a day, they eat the best foods. You can get rid of them with herbs somewhat, but electrically it's the best. Now, this is more for like viri, bacteria, some fungi. It does knock out some parasites, but the best thing to get is this. This is actually a Candida Zapper. It's like a fungi, and he actually has one that's more specific to knocking out parasites, but this is more like for the fungi, but it knocks out the parasites too. This is actually from Hulda Clark's patents, and he modified it slightly, but again, I like this because if you turn it off, you notice the power light is off, right? And then it has a power light, and above it is a conductivity light. And how I have this actually is on my body here, I'll use a weight belt. That's the simplest way. Instead of using elastic bandages, I use a weight belt, and it's this pad with an alligator clip. Now you look, I'm holding it in my hand, so the red light is on dimly. If I let go of it, you red light goes off. Hold it in my hand. So it's showing you're getting a proper current. Now the easiest way to do this actually is with a weight belt. I use the weight belt right here. And I just wet this down and I slip it between the weight belt and your skin. And what happens is, you only treat this for about 30 minutes a day, but this will knock out really powerful fungi. Now he took Hulda Clark's patent and he modified the wave slightly to make it more of like a square wave, but it's been tested in a petri dish. We're using this particular current right here, and there's two settings. I usually use the 30 kilohertz because it's more powerful, and that'll knock out parasites. People have parasites in them, and that's a major problem why they crave sugar and different things like that, why they seem to eat yet they feel tired. I know it's partly just because people are eating too much sugar, but partly the reason people crave sugar is because they have parasites. It's like, these solutions I'm pointing out to you, though, they're more or less permanent solutions. In other words, your body's two electronic devices, and I trust this guy's stuff big time. I personally do. I've been using this a while. You could see this thing is so old, it's actually like there's even a slight amount of rust around the switches and stuff. I've used this for quite some time. So obviously I haven't occurred any ill effects or anything like that. I could tell you I feel fine with this. Now the other thing, a lot of people have incurred parasites. Another thing you can get, and I get this from Puritan, it's not their brand, but it's a wormwood combination. Actually there's two popular herbs, and it's wormwood and black walnut leaf, or black walnut hulls. Those are very good for removing parasites. That's something else recommended by Hulda Clark. Now, I have mixed opinions on Hulda Clark, but as far as her knocking out the parasites in the human body, I think her research there was some good stuff. I mean, it wasn't like there's a cure for every disease and all this kind of garbage, but hey, when you knock out the critters in your body, the parasites, everybody's got them. I don't care, you're thinking of people that are like, unsanitary conditions. You could be having health food, you could be vegan diet, and with raw foods and everything else, you'll still have parasites, and it slows you down. So doing this herb, I get it on Puritan.com. It's the cheapest place to get it, so I'm not selling any stuff, not ripping anybody off or anything. I don't sell these units or anything. I'm just saying it's my own personal review of these. I've been using them for some years now, and it's just like this. They hate electronic gizmos because once a person buys them and they perform a very good use. Now I'm talking this stuff has been patented. Patented means it works. It has to be proven. And a number of people say it's great. So you have the Beck protocol type patent, and you also have the fungi parasite, which is from Zapper, which is from Hulda Clark. Both of these. One you do around, this is around the stomach. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it around the stomach. I mean, if you have an area of the body where there's like a skin problem, maybe you think it's fungi, you might want to try this with some coconut oil over it, which will kill fungi, and give it a go. Now, when you're actually zapping the parasites in the intestines, you probably are killing off a lot of the good bacteria flora. So what you should do is, after you do this treatment, add some of this acidophilus. I actually just use the Puritan's brand, and also like yogurt, olives, pickles, sauerkraut, things that are fermented foods that can actually bring up the good flora in the body. So kimchi is another one. The Koreans have a very good amount of kimchi, so it's one good food they have. Japanese have other fermented cheeses that will bring up the biological flora. Sometimes they work better than the pills. Actually, I think the food is better than the pills than anything. But these electronic devices, though, as far as knocking out parasites, they're probably more effective than the herbs by quite a bit. They probably are. Now, I'm pointing this out because I think this is very important, because in a world where they're going into like national health care and total snake oil that I've seen from the medical establishment, except in the case of Well, I'd have to give them super credit for traumatic injuries, like if you fall off a roof or you have a car accident or something like that. You just can't take one of these little devices and say, everything's going to be fine. This is a good preventive type thing. It could be, but what I think a lot of times the average medical community is just like any other business. They're very much profit orientated, and they got to maintain a revenue stream. So they hate things like this. Let's assume they work. Let's assume they work as as I think they work. Okay. Problem is, if you buy this, you have rechargeable batteries in it. You just keep recharging the batteries, and the batteries last a long time. You never buy any. You don't even buy herbs. You never buy pharmaceuticals. This is even bad for the supplement company because it lessens the need for supplements. So this is the way to go. And I want to point out a link where this stuff is at. But like I said, I use this daily. I've been using this for years now, and it's like no problem. One of the biggest things to get rid of in the body is parasites. This is the original Beck device. That does work somewhat against a lot of parasites, but then you got ones that are more specific. This is for parasites and fungi, and this is the herb. So I recommend that because it's an area that's ignored. If they could sell you $200 pills for parasites, that'll be the new craze with the medical establishment. So I don't know. This guy's aggravating me. Sorry, but they do. They really do. They're good in some ways. In some ways, they're fantastic. In other ways, they aggravate me. So I'm just putting out my thing on this because anybody can afford this stuff. Anybody can, really. And it could be for 2 or 3 people. So if you're thinking the cost is high, and the cost isn't much, everything under it's like $100 something for these things, each one. That's not that bad, considering you use it for years and years.